Hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Welcome to the Knit Chat Cafe. I should say hi, Kelly.
I know.
I know I got home like 10 days ago and we still haven't even seen each other. But
Nope.
anyway, first things first. First thing is we just want to make sure everybody can see us and hear us. And my name is Noelle.
And I'm Kelly.
And we're coming to you from Southwestern Ontario. We're both in Southwestern Ontario, Canada. And yeah, this is our weekly get together in the Knit Chat Cafe where we share all our knitty goodness and adventures. And we're glad that all of you could join us. And if you're here for the first time, a big welcome. And for everybody that joins us on a regular basis, we're so glad that you join us here in the Knit Chat Cafe. And yeah, so I see there's a lot of people in here, and I saw Julia's name in there at the beginning. So Julia, thanks for getting everything started, and everyone looks like they're having a good conversation here. So yeah, so like I said, I haven't seen Kelly. I haven't even talked to her since last Knit Chat, I don't think. Maybe a couple of short, quick like texts, but it's been busy. It was Thanksgiving weekend. Kelly was busy with the Brigden Fair, working long days.
Since last Tuesday, I have worked 10 to 16-hour days. If I look tired, it's because I am. I am absolutely exhausted. And today was my first shorter day, and I'll be working every day until we go away this weekend. And the fair was great. We have about 50,000 people that attend. And let me tell you, 16 hours is a long day. And it's lucky for me that it's close to my house, because by the time I drove home at midnight, a couple of those nights, it was all I could do to get myself home, crawl into bed, and try to shut my head off so I could sleep for 5 hours and get up and do it all again the next day. And it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And yes, Isabel, I am supposed to be retired, but
yep.
It's been a very fun whirlwind 5 weeks. And I don't know how much knitting I'll do this weekend, ladies, when we're all together at the house. I may be sleeping. That's all I know. Just need to catch up. So anyway,
and we had a really busy weekend. We had family dinner on Saturday night. We had Jacqueline and Mike and Zoe stayed with us Saturday night and Sunday night. So actually, they did go to the fair. Jacqueline and Mike and Zoe and Rachel and Molly and Isla. Yeah, they all went.
Cold.
They went on Sunday. I was tired after doing all the dinner on Saturday. So I thought, you know what? I'll just like have a quiet afternoon while you guys go to the fair. And then we had a nice brunch at my son and daughter-in-law's on Monday. And I mean, it was like not super warm, but it turned out to be a nice weekend for the fair because it was no rain.
No,
not really. A little bit at night, I think.
It was really cold. It was really cold. We did have a little bit of rain on Friday evening, but yeah, it was a really good weekend. There's
I know Jacqueline said that it was fine for Jacqueline said it was fine for walking around, that there really wasn't like a whole lot of muddy spots, and the kids came home fairly clean. So
yes.
But they had a really good time. So
That's right. Oh, and yes, Isabel is pointing out that for the rest of the world, in Canada, this past weekend was our Thanksgiving weekend. The US is like a month away from us. They're on November 25th, correct? It's always a month before Christmas.
So they're more than a month. Like they're about 5 or 6 weeks after us, I think, because theirs is a lot closer to Christmas. I think theirs is kind of the start of the holiday season.
And this is the one holiday, I have to say, I think we have it all over the US for this, as far as Canada goes, because honestly, having Thanksgiving only a month to the day from Christmas, I think is pretty close. Like, it doesn't really give you a chance to have your turkey and then get excited for turkey again. But us having it earlier in October, I'm still ready for turkey. So today was turkey soup. served out at the fair, and it was really, really good. And I did get a Thanksgiving dinner. The fair cooked a absolutely amazing dinner. So I didn't go without. I
That's
didn't
good.
have to cook this year, but I didn't have to go
Yeah.
without. So all in all, it was definitely a weekend to be thankful for. It was very nice to see a lot of people at the fair. I had my husband out there helping me too. So it's not like we were apart. He was just out there keeping busy. So yeah, it's very good.
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 So,
There's been
okay. So,
Can I
pardon
just
me.
go, since last Tuesday night, there has been 0 knitting. There was a couple of nights that I made it home by about 9:30, and I thought, "Okay, I'm just gonna straight up tell you this." I put on my PJs, and I said, "I'm gonna sit downstairs, make a tea." I didn't even get probably 6 stitches knit, and I found myself dozing off, sitting on the couch with my tea in my hand, so it was an absolute lost cause. So once again, tonight is the all Noelle show. I have some things to show, but nothing that I've worked on this weekend,
Okay.
and sure as heck no finishes.
Okay. So we'll start off with, I did have a few questions. So there's a little bit of admin. So the first question that I had was, someone was doing a pullover and they wanted to change it to a split hem at the bottom, and how exactly to go about doing that. Well, I can tell you what I do, and then we'll see what if anybody else has any suggestions. Like when you get down to the bottom, when you split for that hem, so either the front or the back, whichever one, I like doing it so that the back kind of tucks underneath the front. So when I'm doing the back, at each side of the back, I would cast on 3 extra stitches on each side, so that you've got like, and depending on the weight of your yarn, if it's a lighter weight yarn, you might want to cast more than that. But so that you get a little bit of overlap that you can then tack down underneath the front layer. So that way your split isn't right up at the seam, so that you can't see it splitting apart like that. So I don't
Right.
know what anybody else does. That's, I think, a good way to handle it, because you just get a little bit of overlap and it kind of splits out from that, and you don't really see where the join or where the actual split is on the sweater. So, and it's pretty easy to do that on a lot of sweaters, and you have the choice when you do that too. You might want to make your back rib, your back split hem a little longer than the front, or you can make them the same size. That's totally up to you. But it is kind of a nice way to give your sweater, if you like, let's say you don't want it really tight at the bottom, it'll give you a little bit of extra room at the bottom, because you'll have that that extra room from where the split is. So that's what I would do. There are a lot of patterns that actually have that incorporated in the pattern.
I like that little bit of a tailored tuck too, so that the front piece is over the back. I do like that. I like the way that looks on a sweater. I think it definitely gives it just a little bit more of a finished tailored look.
Okay, so Lauren is saying, do you slip the first stitch of the split hem? Usually if I've got a raw edge, if I've got an edge that's going to be exposed, I usually do, like, you would slip it on one side and you would knit it on the other side, like as you come back. So it's not totally slipped. Or if you just go and depending on what kind of a hem you're doing too, if it's like knit 2, purl 2 or knit 1, purl 1. But if you go and look that up, there's lots of tutorials on how to kind of finish an edge stitch so that it looks neat. I personally slip that first stitch just so that you get a cleaner edge. So, okay. And then the next question was about joining yarn. It seems like we get this question a lot, and a lot of it has to do with the type of yarn you're joining. If you're joining a rustic, yarn that kind of stick to each other, you can spit splice it, which basically is spitting in your hand,
It is
doing
as
this to
gross
the
as it
yarns.
sounds. Yes.
Now, I sometimes will take water into it. I know that some people say that it actually works better with
spit.
But, I mean, realistically, you're blocking your sweater when you're done anyway.
Yes.
So that's
Oh, come on. It's not gross. How many times as children or as mothers of young children did we get that tissue in our
like
hands,
this.
give it a little lick and go at their faces? And we've all cringed, when that wet Kleenex is coming at us, for sure.
Yep. Yep. So, and Julia does say here that Beth McDonald Stones, when she does her sweater, she slips the first stitch. So, okay. So that was your sticky yarn. So if you've got a superwash yarn, which is not as easily it's not, I don't think you can spit splice them because they've got some kind of coating on it that's specifically made for it not to stick to each other. So the best place to do that is if you've got a textured sweater, to do it where you change textures. Like if you're going from a knit stitch to a purl stitch, it's easy to switch something there so that you can't see it. Otherwise, I would try to hide it like at a seam or in the side or somewhere that's not noticeable. Now, I think some people do a Russian join sometimes.
I was just going to say, that's what I have often used. I have had really good success with that.
Okay. And then the probably the hardest to hide your ends is if you're doing a plant fiber, because plant fibers don't seem to want to stick into something. So again, what I usually do with that, if it's a chainette construction, you can do a Russian join, because I believed when I used Kestrel, that's the type of join I did with that. If it's not, again, I would try to stick to a seam or where your pattern changes, and then just kind of leave a long enough tail to kind of weave it in so that, you know, if you cut it too short, it's going to come out too easily. So
if it's a if it's a plant fiber, when I weave in, I wouldn't normally even try to cut the inside string to the sweater. I would end up leaving something that's about 1 inch long, and it's always going to live inside the sweater. That way I don't ever have to worry about it working its way out or popping through the front.
Okay. Okay, so the next the next one isn't a question. It was actually some information. So we had talked a little bit last week about neck lights. So someone had said, like, when you wear your neck light, you've got the little positions here that you can shine down on your yarn. Well, someone said they found it better. They actually went to an Army Navy store and got one of those headlight things that I guess must have been what miners used to wear, or if you're going cave exploring. And they put that on their forehead, and they find that that gives them an intense light right where they need it. So that's another option instead of a neck light. And, you know, if you don't mind the feel of something around your head, that would work perfectly. Some people don't like the feel of something around their neck. So just choose whichever option works best for you. I saw on the Amazon Prime Days today, I saw a different neck light. I was tempted to get it, and I thought, no, you have a neck light. You don't need another one. But on one side, so here's mine. On one side, it had like an end like this, where I can position this to whatever, and it's kind of like a little spotlight. But on the other end was like a light that was about this long, rectangular. So it would give more light to a specific area. It almost looked like a little miniature aught light. And so you would have the choice of the two. You would have this side, and then you would have the other side. But again, I've already got one. So, and it was pink, but I resisted.
I had another, I still have somewhere up in a drawer. It is another headlamp, but it just clips on the brim of a hat. So if you're wearing, you know, kind of like the build hats, you know, with the little clip at the back, it just clips on there and then it shines down. And I used to use that a lot when I was doing quite a bit of photography at night because firstly, I didn't have to have something strapped around my forehead, and it gave me hands-free, and it had an easy button just to click on and click off when I needed it. So that might be something that somebody could look into as well if they like to wear hats while they knit.
Yep. There was just something from Darcy says that she says when she's talking about plant fiber, she weaves it, then she splits the yarn, pulls half to the next stitch, and does a surgical knot, usually in a side seam.
Okay.
So
very good.
I don't know how to do a surgical knot, but I might have to check that out. So, and yes, Jill, the neck lights or a knitting light makes a wonderful gift for a knitter.
Absolutely.
So, okay. Next question was, somebody is looking for a worsted weight V-neck cardigan for a male. And now I haven't knit that many cardigans Ross, I've never knit Ross a cardigan. He doesn't want one. He said, and would wear it. So I'm not going to knit him one. So this one, I didn't know. So if anybody's got any ideas, or can you think of any, Kelly?
My mind immediately goes to Jared Flood. I know that he has a lot of male patterns that anybody that I know that has knit male sweaters, I will often hear that name floating around. So I think that would be a good place to start. I think Tin Can Knits has, do they not have a sweater called the Gramps? Which one?
They do have the Jones cardigan.
And then I was thinking of the Gramps cardigan too. And I think that, you know, again, Tin Can Knits, all sizes from child to adult. So you could have some success looking there as well.
Oh, yep. Connie said maybe Max the Knitter. That's a good. good choice.
Yes.
There might be something there. Yeah, but Jared Flood is good. Tin Can Knits is always good because they have a wide variety of patterns for both male, female, babies. So, okay. And then the last, again, this wasn't a question again, but last week I had my Arisu summer top on that was done in the Lewitt Euroflax wet spun linen. Okay. And it is discontinued. However, apparently Lewitt sold that division, the actual yarn linen division, to Lofty Fibers, and you can still get that at Lofty Fibers. So I know a lot of people really like that linen, and like I said, I do really like wearing it. I just don't like knitting with it, but you can get that at Lofty Fibers, and it's just called Euroflax Sport. So they don't have the wet spun or whatever, but it's just called Euroflax Sport, and the actual what do you call it? The actual properties of the yarn are identical to the one that was sold by Lewitt. Okay. And there was also a recommendation that it is much easier to knit if you do it on square needles. So I'm definitely going to have to get some square needles.
We have to try that. We have to
try
test
that for the next linen sweater.
Yeah. Absolutely. So. Absolutely. Elaine just chimed in and she said Church Mouse has some men's sweaters, and Mindy says Moonstruck Knits has a male cardigan. Yes.
Okay. So there should be some good patterns in there to choose from. So. Okay. So next, what do you want to do? What we're wearing?
Sure.
Okay. I am wearing the Miserina by Caitlin Hunter. And I knit this pattern a while back because when I show you the picture here, Zoe is not very old in it. She was in the picture with me. Here we go. So this is the Miserina by Caitlin Hunter. And it is done. My version is done in Juniper Moon Farms, Patagonia, which is their organic merino, non-superwash. They class it as a DK, but really I think you can work it anywhere from like a fingering, a sport, a light DK. I certainly wouldn't call it a heavy DK. And then my color work at the top is done with a yarn that I spun. It was a silk merino blend, kind of in a gold, green, a little bit of orange, really autumny colors. So, and that was a gift from Rachel. So yeah. And every time I put the sweater on, I thought, I really want to make another one of these sweaters. Like, I just love this sweater. I loved everything about it, knitting it, wearing it. So definitely this will be another sweater at some point, hopefully. But there's so many sweaters out there. It's like hard to.
I know.
But it had the whole package, right? It had the whole package. The knitting was fun. The wearing is great. The pattern's amazing. Different colors. It's going to look totally different. You know, like you see so many of them and they can look so different. This one's got long sleeves. So I can't remember if I think the pattern didn't have long sleeves.
No, it doesn't. It has short sleeves.
This one's got long sleeves. There's two different variations for the body. You can either do the textured stitch or there was a lace stitch. And it
has it all. It has cables. It has the pattern. I think that's the sweater that you did. Was that the first one that you did, the ladder back jacquard?
Yes.
For your color work. That's where you learned to do that.
There, you can see it. So there's the ladder back jacquard, which I caught them right in the middle of the cables. So that just gives you, I don't think I can show it with this, but it gives you like an extra layer of mesh, and you can actually put your finger right through that. So it carries your yarn, but it's not attached to your fabric in any way, shape, or form. And I found it really easy to do it right in the middle of the cable. So every time you were carrying from one of these motifs to the other, you just caught it in the middle of the cable, but it's not attached to the fabric. And yeah, it was fun to learn a new technique. And I've used it a couple of times since. So
yes.
Okay.
Julia just chimed in and said, we had the big discussion about the Barocco chai last week, which was the sweater I was wearing. And she said that she may or may not have some of that Barocco chai and lavender headed her way. So happy to have enabled Julia. Okay,
Anyway,
so
okay.
I am not wearing a sweater tonight. I am wearing, well, the same thing I wore to work today, but it is a hinterland dress, and I'm just wearing it with a t-shirt, a long sleeve t-shirt, because it's cozy and warm. And I think I put a picture in here to talk about it. The hat and the gloves, I actually took the pictures, and I happened to be wearing the same outfit a while ago, but I took the pictures to show off the hat and the mitts, and they are just the perfect pairing for this outfit. And this was a gradient yarn that I bought in 3 specific, not schools, gosh, I am tired. Okay. 3 skeins are, no, were they in cakes or skeins? I don't even know how I
I
bought
don't
them
know.
now. Anyway, they're a gradient yarn, and they were dyed specifically to make this project. And the pattern and the yarn is both by the Blue Brick. And it's, I love the hat. I love the pattern in it. And actually, well, I have the hat here. Well, I'll talk about it later. So, and the gloves, although they don't have fingers, they're still super warm. And I like how long they are. One of the patterns that you recently did, you were talking about how nice and long they went up. And so anyway, that's what I'm wearing tonight. And again, it's a hinterland dress, which is by So Liberated. It's one of those dresses that I just keep making again and again, and keep wearing with, practically everything. It's like a standard outfit for me.
Kathy asked if we had a good recommendation for the ladder back jacquard. Kathy, the tutorial that I used was by Suzanne Bryan. I found it clear, easy to understand, and I will link it in the show notes. So, okay.
Great.
So Kelly, do you have any finishes?
Nope. I got nothing. I told you earlier this week, you could run the show without me tonight, because I will contribute very precious little. I have some acquisitions to show later. That's all I have.
Okay. Okay. Well, I have 2 finishes. One hardly really counts because they were almost finished last week, but I'll show them because
I have nothing.
So these are the Coastal Drift mittens by Manon Drolet. These are a pattern that she designed for the PEI Fiber Fest that happened this past weekend in Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island, Canada. So she designed this pattern to represent, kind of looks like the dunes on Prince Edward Island. There's beautiful beaches on Prince Edward Island, and they've got these amazing sand dunes with kind of this wild grass growing up in them. They're really actually stunning when you ride your bike along there and see them. Anyway, so these are designed by Minot. These ones, this pair is done in Sand and Skarn double Sunday, which is, they call it a DK weight yarn, but to me it's 20 stitch gauge. It's more like a worsted or light worsted. Okay. But anyways, this, the yarn comes in 50-gram balls, and this took 1 and a bit. So there would definitely be, like there's 2 sizes in the pattern. This is the smaller size. So there's definitely enough yarn in 2 balls to do both sizes. And I can probably get another pair of mitts out of this for one of my grandchildren. So this color is called Dusty Rouge. And I love them. So Minot was kind enough that when I was there, she gave me some yarn and the pattern to give away. So we are going to give away tonight on the show. We're going to give away a mitten set, and I'll show you what we've got here. So the first set is actually, I've done another pair, which were done with the Sand and Skarn Sunday, which is a fingering weight yarn held with the tin silk mohair. So we're going to give away 1 set in that. And then this one we'll give away tonight, just to make it easy. Okay. This one we'll give away tonight. And then she's also given us 2 sets in the Sand and Skarn double Sunday. So I've only got 1 of the balls here, but there's 2 balls in each of these. So there's the Sand and Skarn Sunday in this. I don't know if it's got a color on it. No, this has just got a number, but it's a really pale pink. And then this one is just a pretty light cream taupey color. So these ones we will give away after the fact from comments in the show notes after the podcast is posted to YouTube. So in order to have a chance to win this, we'll start the giveaway. We would like you to type in hashtag Coastal Drift. That's the name of the mittens. So I also had enough in this. There was enough in both the Sand and Scarn Sunday, which is a gorgeous yarn. It's a non-superwash. So the fingering weight, I think, has got, let me just look here. The yardage is really good in it. Of course, I can't find it. And it is a Norwegian yarn. There's 235 meters in the 150-gram skein. And then in the tin silk mohair, which the tin silk mohair is a combination of 57% mohair, 28% silk, and 15% wool. And it's got 212 meters in 25 grams. And together they just make an absolutely luscious fabric and gorgeous pair of mitts, as does the double Sunday. The double Sunday almost feels like it might be a little warmer, but then I'm thinking this with the mohair in it, what it lacks in the thickness of the mitten will make up in the loftiness and the air trapping properties of the mohair. So I've got a pair of each and I love both of them. So we'll let that run for a few minutes. And again, I want to thank Minot, and I hope she had an amazing time at the PEI Fiber Fest. It looked amazing. I saw lots of people's pictures. Unfortunately, we left a week earlier, but realistically, I really wanted to be home with my family for Thanksgiving. So it's just a little far to go for a weekend. So, but it did look like it was like a lovely festival. So, and I know Minot was also she had all of the yarn, all of the Sand and Scarn yarn, and she also was selling some of the Fleece Artist yarn, which Fleece Artist is also a local yarn producer dyer actually in Nova Scotia. So there's quite a few actually. When you get out to the Maritimes, there actually is quite a lot of yarn dyers there. So
is the pattern available now the
pattern is now available on Ravelry, but for whoever wins, I will send them a copy of the pattern. Same with the patterns that to go with the other ones that we'll give away this week. So but yeah, and they're super quick to knit up. Yeah, just waiting for it to get cold enough to wear them, which is probably not going to be too much longer. So.
Like I said, I've been wearing mine the last couple of days, and I definitely was bundled up over the weekend. It's definitely cold enough.
It is cold, especially first thing in the morning. So, but okay, so we'll give it another, my 10 seconds.
We have 223 entries. Yeah, we'll just give it just a few seconds more.
Okay, so you'll have these in time. You'll be able to have them in time to wear for this winter. And if you're in the southern hemisphere, then you have lots of time to knit them because you're coming into summer. So I'm actually looking for, I like fall. I like the nice crisp days. I like winter at first, but by the time it gets around to March, I'm like, okay, enough. We're done.
I like winter for the first snowfall, when I can look out and say, oh, isn't that pretty? And then I'm good. Yeah. That would be all I would need. I'm ready for spring.
I don't mind it for a while, but by March, I'm like, okay, I'm done. So, but you know what? I feel like that about summer too. I don't feel like that about fall. Fall could last for a long time.
Fall could last forever, as far as I'm concerned. The sweater weather and the boots, the sweaters and the boots. That's it for me. So, okay, we're going to wrap this up now.
Yep. Okay.
So I'll go out there. I will hit the spinny wheel. We have 235 entries. Good luck. Yay, Dorothy
Rainey is the winner. Congratulations, Dorothy. Now remember, if you didn't win, you can go in after and you can put a comment in the in the comments under the video once it goes onto YouTube. So not now, but under the video. And let's see. What do we want them? What do we want them to comment about?
I don't know.
Okay, how about I don't know. Okay, what's your favorite thing about fall? Or maybe winter, because mittens are for winter. What's your favorite thing about winter? You can say it being over. That's good enough.
Yes, that would be fine. That
But
would
you
be
can
fine.
but tell us what your favorite thing about winter is. So, okay. And for Dorothy, you can get a hold of us. We will need both your mailing address. And if you're on Ravelry, I need your Ravelry ID so that we can gift that pattern to you. If you're not on Ravelry, we will figure out a way to get it to you. But you can email us at knitsandpiecespodcast@gmail.com with your full name. Well, your full name's there, your mailing address. Okay. Okay. And then remember, we've still got one kit in this color and one kit in this color that we'll give away. I will draw for them next week, just before we start the podcast.
Very good.
Okay. Okay. So that was a long time talking about a finished object. Okay. Okay. I have one more finished object. Because the one thing Kelly did text me, she goes, "You better have lots this week because because I have nothing."
In my moments of madness. Oh, I love it. You didn't tell me you had that finished. I absolutely
started
love
it
it in the
yesterday.
stripes.
I started this yesterday. So this is a quick knit. So this is the Friend to Friend Shrug by Leslie Friend. And I do have a banner. Okay. And this is done in Lion Brand Hue and Me. And I do have a picture of that too. So the Hue and Me is a bulky weight yarn. Perfect for this. So this one is done in 3 colors. So the colors are Peacoat, this is Arrowwood, and this is Cement. So I had originally done one for my daughter-in-law just in the cement and put the little flowers on it in the gold color. So this one I actually used, I didn't know, I thought, okay, I'm going to stripe it. But well, how am I going to do the stripes? Seriously, I'm like, what am I going to do? How am I going to do these stripes? I thought, I'm going to look for a mathematical sequence. Mm-hmm. So I did. So this is called, and I will put it in the show notes, but it's called a Golem sequence. And so I had to read it for a while to understand it, but it's like, okay, so you go through your numbers, the number has to be increasing or stays the same all the time. So you start with 1. So then you go down, and so there's 1, 1, right? So then you have to move to 2 because you can't use the same number and you can't go backwards. So you go down to 2. Well, 2, if you count 1, 2, 2 is in the second position. So there has to be 2 2s. Okay. So now you've got 1, 2, 2. Well, now you have to go up. So there can't be more than 2 2s. So you're going up to 3. So when you go up to 3, you have to count in your stripe sequence. So you've got 1, 2, 2. So your 3 is at the 2. So you have to have 2 3s.
Yes. I love it.
So anyways, it's a sequence like that. So mine started off, I've got 7 at the bottom, and then it was 6, 6, 6, 6, 5, 5, 5, 4, 4, 4, 3, 3, 2, 2, 1. So
excellent.
And that's how I did it. And
it.
It was fun to do that. And so I had to, luckily I had done the shrug before. So I had to, here's all my notes on where I had to put the colors and the sequence, because you have all your decreases in there too. So I had to figure out where the decreases were going to go within the sequence. So I just found it. I eventually wrote it all out and then just checked it off as I did it. So it was fun. And then I thought it would be fun to have the flowers on the stripes, but in the opposite colors.
Places. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I love it. This would be an amazing gift, because like I said, I just started this last night, finished it today. Like, it works up so quickly. I did the size 2, which is the size 3, but my gauge, I was not getting as big a gauge as what hers is. So when I did my daughter-in-law's, it was supposed to finish 51. It finished 46, which is perfect. It fit her fine. I knew I only needed 41 around. So for this one, I did the size 3, which was a couple of inches smaller. So this probably finished about 44 inches. So, but yeah, I'm really happy with it. I like how it looks on. I will get some pictures with it on, but it's not blocked or anything yet. But and it's a fun way to use up the yarn.
Really pretty. It's really pretty.
And it was different. Now there were ends to sew in, but it wasn't.
Nancy's asking if you can try it on. We want to see it on. Yeah. Can you put it on?
Okay, I can. I'm boiling.
Oh, I really like it. There you go.
I still don't like, see, I can't
do it on camera. There you go.
It's still not right, but I still
Swing
can't
it
do it on
to
camera.
the right, to the right. Pull it to the
Like
right.
opposite to what I think.
Yes, pull
There.
it to the right. That looks
There.
great. Those
I
are
really
my
like
colors.
it. I think it'll be like perfect with like just a turtleneck underneath it and a pair of jeans. And so anyway,
Yeah.
I know it was like Ross doesn't like it. He goes, "Is that a garment? Like, what is it?" Like, I like it. I really like it. So anyway. Yeah, so I can see making more of those. So we definitely have to go to Mary Maxim's and look for some Hue and Me yarn. Did you get yours?
Yeah, I did. I did.
So you can show that at the
Yes.
Okay, and I will go through here and let's see. Okay, so that's what the Hue and Me looks like. So it comes, I forget what the actual weight of the ball is, but that's what the ball looks like. It is Lion brand yarn. It does come in a variety of colors, and yeah, it's got, I think, 20% wool in it, and I think the rest is acrylic, but it knits up really fast. Again, perfect gift knit. So
very nice. I like that. Okay. Anything else finished?
Not finished. No. Nope.
Okay. Susan says, did you measure around your shoulders to get the measurement? Where do you measure to get your size?
All the way around. Yeah. So like basically your arms like this, and then it goes around your arms and your shoulders. So, and I did have a couple of, like, from the pattern, I do have a couple of extra rows in between some of the decreases. I wanted it to come down like to here. And we've talked before, like even though I'm short, I'm not that short from here to here. Like, I'm not a whole lot different from Kelly from here to here. So I just have shorter legs. So I did put a few extra rows in, and plus my tension was a little bit different than what the gauge in the pattern is.
Yeah.
So, and that was done on 8mm needles, which by the time I was done today, that definitely was hurting my hands. Knitting with those big needles, because I am not used to knitting with big needles.
I do find that as well, that it's hard on my hands to knit with the larger needles. You'd think it would be easier, but for me, it's not
faster, but it's not. It's faster because, like, like the garment is just works up fast because your stitches are so big, but it is a lot harder on your hands. So,
and when I finish with a project like that, I'm always really excited to get back to small needles again. Yeah. So how much of each skein did you use in that size? How many skeins did you have to use?
For the navy, which is the most, I used almost a whole one. I will put that on my page, but it's probably, like, if you totaled it, it's like it's no more than one of each, right? But then I've still got some left of the gold and the cement, but the cement I had used a little bit in the other shrug. So definitely out of 5 skeins, doing this size and one above, you can easily get 2 shrugs. So.
Okay.
All
right. Moving on.
Okay. What are you working on?
Same thing I was working on last week. So I'm not going to show it. I haven't.
Okay. I have 3 whips.
Okay.
So my first one is, my yarn's falling all over the place. My first one is my calabash. So I only have a little bit farther, but last week you couldn't really see the pattern, but now you can see the pattern more.
That's really pretty.
So this is a test that I'm doing for Beth McDonald Stone. This is the calabash sweater. And I took a picture here just of kind of like what it looked like. There we go. So it's really a really cool, like, the way that she does the stitch. Like, it's not a bobble. You don't do it all in one row, but and your background is a reverse stocking stitch. So the yarns that I'm using, my background yarn is Full Moon Fibers. It is their 100% Rambouillet, which is a non-superwash yarn. The colorway is called Freshwater, and it's just kind of a taupey, variegated, kind of almost got a pink tinge to it. And then my my calabash, or my melons, or gourds, because a calabash is a gourd, is the Knitting Loft Care in the colorway Baby Doll. And I just am loving how this is working up. And now that I finished the chunky weight, I'll be glad to get back to working on this again. So I kind of stopped at this point because I want to roll up another ball of the Rambouillet, because I am going to alternate it because it is hand dyed.
Yes.
And as I'm getting more and more stitches in between my vines of the gourds, I want to get that new color in there so that it's not noticeable when I join it. So anyway, really, really enjoying it. I love the two yarns together. I like the color. Yeah, so that's my first. That is my first whip. And my second whip, I got a little bit farther on this. So this is my pressed flowers cardigan. So I've got it done to the point where I've just got to do the sleeves and the bands now. So this is Pressed Flowers by Amy Christophers. And I am doing this in, I've got a picture of the yarns here. I'm doing it in, what is the name of I forgot already, the New Zealand yarn. Skeins, Southlander. Yeah, it's Skeins Southlander. And the color is Dusty Heather. And the other one, again, is the Knitting Loft Care, but this colorway is Frosted Sprinkles. So I'm really liking how this is knitting up. It's a V-neck cardigan. And yeah, so I just got the bands. I've just got the sleeves. It's just a drop sleeve. I was figuring, like I'm awake in bed last night. I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm thinking, okay, so seriously, I'm thinking, okay, I'm done this, but this was all back and forth, right? And then I'm like, okay, but so how's it going to work? Because the sleeves are going to be in the round. Now, what am I going to have to do to do this? And I'm like, stop, just stop. It's in the pattern. It'll be fine. So I haven't started the sleeves yet, but I will get busy on that since we're getting into the weather where you can wear it. And I really love this color in the Frosted Sprinkles because there's so many colors in there. I'll be able to put like any kind of a little t-shirt or shell underneath with this to go with this. It's really nice. And the Dusty Heather is kind of like a really dark smoked lavender. So yeah, and that's kind of what it looks like. Kind of looks neat on the inside, eh?
Yeah, it does. That's what Jill's so commenting like on your floats.
Shadowy, yeah. So this is mosaic knitting. Yeah, and I'm really enjoying it. Mosaic knitting. This is like fingering weight yarn, so it does take a while because you're doing basically 2 rows for every 1 row. So,
yes.
But yeah, I'm really liking that.
It's pretty much like knitting the sweater twice.
Yes.
Yes.
And then my next whip in my little basket here that I brought back from New Brunswick. So here's.
Oh, that's pretty.
So this is Badger and Bloom by Anne Vensel. Okay, and this is done in yarn that I got from the Knitting Loft last week. This was my yarn that I ordered. So this yarn is their Lush base, their Lush base, which is Surrey alpaca and silk, I think. So anyway, it's the Knitting Loft Lush. The colors are eggplant is the dark and gray lavender. So the body is going to be the gray lavender. There is in this pattern, there is detail at the bottom, but I don't think I want it. I think I want it just to be plain down, but then I do think I'll put the design on the sleeves. Now, the one thing about this pattern that someone did point out to me later, and it is a shame, this pattern is not size inclusive at all. In fact, this particular one, the one that's the female version, only goes up to a 45-inch bust, which is not very size inclusive. And she also has a unisex version of this, and even the unisex version only goes up to a 49-inch. So I kind of looked through some of her patterns, and there was some back and forth that she had with like some people about this. And she said that, sometimes the pattern's not easy to go up into now, I don't know. I'm not a designer. To me, I didn't think this would be all that hard. It's not a long stitch repeat, but I don't know. I'm not a designer. So this was I just really liked it. I actually, when I was looking for patterns to work in this, the sherbet bandana that I did, a lot of people had done it in the Lamb and Kid Big Birdie. So I just kind of looked at what people had done with Big Birdie, and this was one of them. So that's why I chose this pattern. Now this yarn is lighter than Big Birdie. Like these are 50-gram skeins. Like this is basically going to weigh less than 250 grams when the sweater's done. So it's super light, but it's going to be super warm. So what I did was, because this is not size inclusive, I went and had a look, and I found some patterns that would work with this yarn, but that are size inclusive. So I'll bring up a couple of them here. Okay, so this first one, this is Maya, and this is by Kristen Drysdale.
That's very pretty.
And I do have a, there we go. So this is the Maya pullover by Kristen Drysdale, and it's the same, like it's about the same gauge as what I'm doing with the Badger and Bloom, but this one does go up like fairly size inclusive. So that's easily something that you could do with this. And the Lush comes in absolutely gorgeous colors. And I think this is a sweater that you could do. You could really, like in her case, she's kind of got a subtle change in the two colors, but you could really do that in like bold colors, like even a black and a white or a dark gray and a light gray, and it would really show up nicely. So that was one. And then another one is, go here. This one is the Selfish pullover by Sweater Freak. And again, like that design up at the top, like you would only need one skein of your accent color to do that design up at the top. And that would work really well. The tension was the same. And this was a very size inclusive pattern, but that's another idea for using with the Lush yarn. And then the last one that I had here, and I'm sure there are more, like I just kind of had a look to see what I could find. There was also this one.
Oh, I like that.
This one, yeah, this one is the Camellia by Anna Johanna. And again, very size inclusive, works with the gauge of the specific yarn, the Lush yarn. And I think you would get like a really nice light sweater, but warm. And that's what I really like about this yarn is I'm doing it in a heavier gauge. Like the gauge is like 16 to 17 stitches, yet because the yarn's so light, you're not going to end up with a super heavy sweater.
Right.
So, because that's what I find sometimes when you're knitting like in a bulky yarn or a bulky weight, that the sweater just turns out like really heavy. And this has got a lot more air between the stitches, so it kind of lets it breathe more. So anyway, so those are just some ideas that if you
Debbie is saying
to
that
still use that yarn.
Yeah, Debbie's saying that she tested the Selfish pullover and she said it's a great pattern.
Okay.
So that's good feedback too.
Yeah. So anyways, like I said, I'm loving the yarn, like the feel of this. It's like a cloud. It's just,
I love those colors. Absolutely beautiful.
And it's kind of hard when I pick them, right? Because I can't see them in person, but I thought, okay, I think they're good. I didn't know how much, because sometimes you look at it on screen and it looks like there's a lot of contrast, but then when you get them, there's not actually. But I think the contrast in these two is good. So yeah, so that was, and still, even after I've done all that in the eggplant color, I still have that much left in that ball. And these are 50 grams. They're 50-gram cakes. And then I am alternating. Okay, I am alternating, and this is my first two skeins of the gray lavender. So I've still got quite a bit of that left, and I've got one more skein of the gray lavender. And like I said, I will put this down at the bottom of the sleeves, and I've still got one more skein of this. I think I'm going to finish this with 200 grams. I don't even think I'm going to go into the second skein of that.
How long are you planning to make that sweater?
Down past my hip bone.
Okay.
So I'm not going to crop it.
No.
So
very nice. I love that. It's beautiful.
But yeah, thanks.
I wanted to get that, when it was on sale, I wanted to get that Lush for a sweater, and I just couldn't, I don't know. My headspace wasn't around it. I just couldn't find the pattern that I wanted for it. So I'm definitely going to go back in. I did order some, just enough to do something, and I had something picked out for it, and now I can't even remember what that was. So I picked a couple
Well,
of
that's if
colors.
you're like, I really like it at this 16 to 17 stitch gauge. So that's what you can do. You can go into Ravelry and you can do a search,
Mhm.
and there is up at the top, it's not specifically listed, but up at the top, there's like other criteria. And if you do those drop downs, you can go to a gauge thing and you can actually put in the stitches for 4 inches or for 10 centimeters. So you can put in like 16 to 17 and it'll bring up patterns with that specific gauge. And then you can go in and narrow it and put in like, I want to see sweaters. I want to see them with 2 colors. And so that's what I did when I found the other ones. And
And Joanne's saying that that pattern particularly reminds her of one of the Bauhaus sweaters, the
yeah,
Bauhaus Strickling sweaters. And yeah,
yeah.
it's very nice.
So
Okay. Just reading some comments. We've had issues. That's what I've been dealing with. We had a bot in here. We had some people that needed to be booted. Thank you, Sarah, for trying to help out. Oh, good old YouTube, right?
yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, that's my whips.
Those are your
I
whips.
mean, obviously I've got other things that are on the needles, but that's what I've worked on. So
Okay.
okay.
Should we move into, did you get anything this week? Did you buy anything?
Of course.
We're not supposed to be buying. We're heading to
I bought that Lush that I'm working with. That was my knitting loft purchase that I got. And I love it. And I love the colors. And I'm already thinking, okay, what else can I do with this yarn? I would love to do a nice cardigan in that yarn. Like, wouldn't that be nice?
So
A nice
soft.
V-neck cardigan. Yeah. Yeah. So,
Mm-hmm.
okay. Okay. So what did you get?
Sarah's asking, did you remember when you had all those sleeves to finish? Did you finish them all or are they still languishing? They're languishing, Sarah. They're languishing.
What sleeves?
You have some cardigans, I think, that have no sleeves.
Well, yeah, I have my pressed flowers. So I have to do that.
No,
I have
some more than that.
the Paul Clay sweater. I have a Jennifer Steingast one. That's all I can think of at the moment.
Okay. We'll have to go into your naughty list of whips and see what's
They'll
left
get
in
there. They'll get there. They'll get there.
Okay. Well, I ordered some yarn a few weeks ago and I thought it would have been in by last week and it wasn't, but it did come in finally. So it did take a while to get here. And I got some of the Hue and Me as well. That's one of the colors.
That's pretty.
Do we have colors names on these? Yes. This one's spicy. I really like it.
That's pretty.
It's pretty. I wasn't sure what it was going to look like. You know, you're ordering on a website. I didn't have a chance to check it out. And then I couldn't decide because I was thinking about that striped option too. And I wasn't thinking about the all over stripes the way you did it. I was just thinking of a couple of stripes towards the bottom. I didn't know if I'd like that or not. So I wanted to order a complementary color. So I also ordered Bellini. So I'll have a spicy Bellini. I like the way they look together. This is sort of a, I don't know. It's not really a pink. I guess it would be
like a mocha pink, sort of.
Sort of, yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I would like a full one in either color, but I may stripe it. So what I did is I bought 3 of the spicy color and then I just bought one of these. So I thought in case I didn't like the way they went together, then I would have 3 of these by itself. But if I did like the way it went together, then I figured I'd have something left over. I don't know, maybe to do some kind of a hat or a headband or I don't know, something. We'll see. But I'm happy with the colors, really happy. So maybe I'll cast one. Well, no, I'm not. When? No, I have sweaters to finish, friends. I have sweaters to finish.
I know, but this is so fast, Kelly.
I know. Maybe this weekend. Darcy says that she bought the very same combo last week. So there, we could be twins. We could be shrug twins for sure. Okay, what else did you get?
What else did I get? Okay, I wanted to try this. So this is a Sand and Scarn yarn. It's the tin Peer Gynt. There we go. Hold it up there. There we go. It's a tin Peer Gynt, and I have used Peer Gynt and I liked it, but this is their fingering weight version. So this is 205 meters in 50 grams. So I just thought that color would be nice to do. And again, I want to do a cardigan. I thought it would be a nice cardigan to go with jeans, which is like a white shirt and jeans. Right. And so it just has a color number on it, but it's just, I don't do that much in blue. So, you know, even though I wanted pink, I got blue, but then I got pink.
But then you got pink.
So this was actually one that I already have a couple of skeins of. This is Yaku by Camera Rose. Mm-hmm. This one actually is a superwash, so I might have to hold it with something. But I had 2 skeins of it, and I was originally going to do a baby sweater, and then I decided, no, I think I'll do me something with it because I really like that color. So I think I might find a mohair that'll go with it and use it for that. So yeah, so I got 4 skeins of that, and I already have 2, so I have a sweater quantity. So
it looks like Julie has been doing some other shopping too. She says she may have to pick up an order at Carberry Farms when she gets to Woolstock in Paris for our trip to Paris this weekend. Paris,
it's not the real Paris, you know.
Paris, Ontario. Yeah, not the real Paris.
I know. Zoe told me that. She goes, you know, Grandma, you're not going to the real Paris. But she goes, but they do have a fake Eiffel Tower.
Do they really? I'm excited to see that.
So anyway, okay, that's it.
That's it. Okay.
That's it.
So
that's all I got.
Something else I guess I can report on is...
Didn't you get something from the Knitting Loft?
I did, but it's not here yet. Well, I mean, it may be here. I haven't been to the mail.
Okay.
And I mentioned that to my husband tonight. I said, oh, I should have had you stop before the end of the day at the mail to see if I had a parcel, because it might have been in. It's shipped. I think I got the shipping notice at the end of last week. So it could be here because I know the shipping is super quick. Yeah.
Oh, I know. Because like I got mine last Wednesday. But I mean, I ordered at 1 o'clock in the morning on the first day.
That's right. And I didn't order until like 10:30 the next night on the last day. And I know that they had so many orders, and I'm sure they were sending them out as they came in. I think they were being really good about that. So
Paris, Texas.
Texas has a fake Eiffel Tower too, with cowboy boots.
Boots. Okay, that's cool.
Yes. Okay. So
Isabel said she got a storage unit. I have to tell you what I ordered today.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
I ordered 30 space bags.
Oh.
Because I am going to vacuum pack all of that yarn because it's just taking up too much space. So.
Okay. Vacuuming the yarn does not make it go away, Noelle. You still have the yarn.
But
it's going to be harder to look through then.
Well, no, it's still going to be labeled. It's still going to be on my Ravelry. I'm still going to know where it is. But it's going to take up a whole lot less space.
Okay. Sorry, excuse me. A couple of things that I dropped into my cart this week, but I didn't knit. But this came out this week. I don't know if anybody else saw these. I'm intrigued by these. The Seward socks by Caitlin Hunter. And she had a little bit of a discount welcome sale on them as well. And I realized that I don't need more pairs of socks, but I don't know. There was just something about those. Interesting thing. She actually knit these using Biche and Bouche Petite Lamb's wool. So not a sock yarn, but a lamb's wool. So they would be super cozy and soft on the feet. I don't know how would they hold together for like the stretch factor. Would you stretch them out by wearing them on your feet? Because there's no nylon in that. It's 100% lamb's wool. What's your take on that?
I probably wouldn't do it. That's my take.
That's my inclination too.
I think they would look really good in Mondim, and Mondim is actually 100%. But I found it's a tighter twist than the lamb's wool. Like I have some of the lamb's wool, and it's not a really tight twist on it.
Not at all.
Like if you're going to use something that's that doesn't have any nylon in it at all, like I would want something that had a higher twist on it.
But then I got thinking, what was the composition of that yarn that we bought, the gathering yarn that had the little tiny skeins that went with it? Do you remember that?
That was Masham, BFL Masham.
Did it have any?
But I think BFL is a stronger. I still, even that one, I probably wouldn't do socks
use
in
for
it.
socks. No. So I mean, obviously, I could just use a sock yarn to make these, but I think part of the intrigue is, or part of the draw that drew me to them is,
okay. Now Joanne said that Biche and Boost does have a new sock yarn.
Oh, well, I wonder if that's it, but I swear that I read, of course, I cannot be held accountable for anything that I've thought or said or read this week, but maybe it was that, but I thought she said that it was the, okay, well, now I have to investigate, Joanne. Thank you for that. I'll look for that and report back.
And Klaska says she bought vintage sock for these socks, the Barocco vintage socks. I just wore mine that I knit with those because I knit them like at the end of last season.
Yes.
I love them. I love them.
Klaska, you took the words right out of my mouth. That was going to be the very next thing I suggested that I would think that I would knit those in. Yes, yep. Absolutely. Because I think that it would have such a beautiful stitch definition. And I know that we like the way that works up. But
they would be nice for the color work too, because it's not a really thick fingering. So when you've got the color work and you've got that doubled all the way around, it's kind of nice that they're not as thick. Like the yarns are not as thick. So
yeah.
But it does have really good stiff definition. So those cables and the pattern in the bottom of the sock would show up really nice in the Barocco.
Yep. So that's kind of on my radar for a future pair of socks because I just really like the way they look. I do. Okay. So at the Brigden Fair, they have fair buildings where you exhibit. So I did put in, I'm just reading Sarah's comment. They are designed in Le Petit Lambswool, which is what I'm doing my Roost sweater in. So as Sarah says, not a great sock yarn in her opinion, but I am going to have a look and see if they have come up with any kind of a sock yarn. But because it would be hard to find something, I think, it looks like a finer yarn. And I have definitely some, rustic sock yarns, but they're definitely thicker. And I feel in order for me to wear a color work rustic sock, it would have to be in a thinner yarn. Otherwise, it would just be like a slipper sock. I wouldn't be able to wear them in my shoes or whatnot. So, okay. So they have, you can exhibit. And one of the categories is knitting at the Brigden Fair. And I have never entered my knitting in a fair. I don't think you have either, have you, Noelle?
Never.
So I thought, okay, I'm out here every day. I have no reason not to right now. I should enter. So I actually entered 11 knitting items, and I'm pretty pumped and stoked to say that I placed in 7 of my items, and I got—
That's awesome.
I know I got 3 first places. I got 2 second places and 2 third places. And one of the things that I got a first place in was actually, it was for an adult hat. And just because I talked about it earlier tonight, and I just picked these up yesterday, so everything's still upstairs in the box, but it was the hat, the Ramble hat, which now that you can see it in person, it has this really nice cable and it has like a seed stitch panels in it. Not my favorite thing to do, as everybody knows, but you know what? It's really effective in a hat. And then how it goes to the beautiful gradient, it has a gorgeous crown. So that was the hat that won first place. And those were the aforementioned fingerless mitts. And then also, and I'm going to give him a little repeat showing on the podcast because he has been living in BC, Christopher Rabbit. But when Kendall came home, I knew that I wanted to put him in the fair for a knitted stuffed toy. And so she brought Christopher Rabbit home in her suitcase. and he won first prize, and he made it into the winner's circle. 2 of my items made it into the winner's circle, and I was super excited because apparently that's like something you're supposed to be super proud of. They just kind of go around and they choose from the first place items something that really catches their eye or that's different and unique. And he is the apple of my eye. He even has the little knitted tail. This is one of the Susan B. Anderson animals, and he lives in Miles' room. He's up on a shelf, so he doesn't get a lot of wear and tear. And his clothing is removable, his pants and his little Fair Isle sweater. So for a tiny little critter, there is an intensive amount of knitting in this guy. So he's definitely worthy of first prize because he's super cute. So I was really excited. So now, you know, I'm going to have to enter again next year. But now that I actually know, and you sort of know the categories ahead, I just kind of went through some things that I had. So my goal this year is for next year's fair, I will only enter something that I've made this year. So now that I have some ideas in my head, I'll be kind of mindful of what I can put into the fair. So yeah, I was pretty happy. And so got to meet lots of ladies over in the home craft department, and there's some beautiful projects there too. And the quilts, my goodness, it was absolutely a beautiful fair.
That's what I wish I had have gone out to see, like, because I really like looking at all the knitting, all the quilts, all the handmade stuff is just, but I was tired. So
yeah. Okay. What else do we have?
We have our knit-alongs that are going on.
Okay, I'll go grab that.
We had a big prize week last week because we had some that came to an end, but we've got our year-long sock make-along. So you just have to finish socks, put them in the finished object thread on Ravelry. We have 2 prizes each month. We've got a pattern prize donated by Natalie of Remembrances Pottery, and we have a sock yarn prize every month. We've also got Smash That Stash, which in this knit along or crochet along, you need to use yarn that's been in your stash prior to January the 1st, 2023. You need to use at least 50 grams of stash yarn. And we have a prize each quarter. And then we will have a grand prize at the end of the year for anyone that has entered a project in each of the 4 quarters. And then we've got our Burra Cowl or Marie Wallen knit along, which is any Marie Wallen or Susan Crawford pattern. We will have prizes at that at the end of December. So those are our knit-alongs that are going on. And don't forget too that we've got 2 mitten kits to give away. So after this video is posted onto YouTube, go in underneath, enter in the comments what you like or don't like about winter. And we've got 2 mitten kits for the Coastal Drift mittens. One in this color, one in this color, and we will pull those before next week's podcast. So, and if anybody is going to Woolstock this week in not the real Paris.
Not the real Paris, yes.
And so please, if you see us, come in and, come and talk to us, come and say hi. We'd love to talk to you. I'm actually going to try not to buy too much yarn, but I don't know if that will happen. We will see. I'm going to try because I really do, because we're going to Rhinebeck the following weekend. But
yes, we are.
I'm looking forward to going, staying in the house with an amazing group of knitters, being able to knit all weekend and spend time and talk to everybody at the fair. And
yes,
it'll just be fun. So
yes, absolutely it will. Yes. I can't
wait.
And
I get just as much pleasure if somebody else buys stuff as if I buy stuff.
I know. I'm excited to see all the things. It doesn't matter if it's coming home with me or going home with somebody else. I'm just super excited to see all the things. Absolutely.
Yeah,
so.
I do. I like it does. It brings me as much joy when somebody else buys something. And I'm just
I'm just excited to like be part of it. I know, honestly,
I know.
To be there and see all the things and see the people and see what they're buying and listen to everybody's plans for what they're going to make with the things that they bought. Like, I'm just the whole thing.
And
It just makes me excited. It's just really fun.
Going around and seeing all the samples in the booth. Because sometimes like you may have just bypassed a pattern, but then when you see it knit in something different, then it's just seeing a pattern made up and seeing a pattern picture is totally different.
Yes.
So
Fiona says she's going. If you see us, Fiona, give us a wave. Come and say hi. It's so much fun to actually, all of the knit chatters that we've met to date, that to be able to put a face to your conversation that goes on in the sidebar. And it's so much fun to meet you in person and to just to be able to, I don't know, it's just great. I mean, that's the good part of the internet, right? That we are able to connect this way. Yes.
Okay. So we hope you all have an amazing week. And like I said, if you're going to Woolstock, come and say hi. And we will see you all next week. Thanks for joining us tonight and happy knitting.
Okay. Oh, I'm supposed to do something. I need the banner. I need to sleep. Take care, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Yeah. Bye.